On the 7th of October 2017, the Dream Doer space program set out to Weyland Reserve in New South Wales, Australia, to test which is better, Estes or Quest. Our first experiment was to test the two motors, C63 from both Estes and Quest. We used the Kookaburra Mini 1 rocket to test this experiment. As you could see from that experiment, the Quest motor performed much better than the Estes motor, although it ran much hotter and was evident inside the rocket as it had been burnt. Another thing to add is that the ejection charge on the Quest motor was much more powerful than the one on the Estes motor and did cause some damage to the shock cord on the rocket, as well as the parachute was slightly torn on the Quest's flight. Our next two experiments would be to test the manufacturer's claim of the top altitude of their rocket, as well as how they performed and how the recovery system performed. We used this using the two rockets known as the Helicat from Estes and the Astro 3 from Quest. And in the next two flights we will see both rockets performing as they should, and seeing if they reach the manufacturer's claimed altitude. For the Quest Astro 3 it is 1,200 feet, and the Estes Helicat is 550 feet, but as these tests show, they do not reach the manufacturer's claims. As we could see from that experiment, the Quest rocket did fly much higher than the Estes rocket, but although it did not reach the manufacturer's claim of 1,200 feet and only reached an altitude of 627 feet, the Helicat did reach an altitude of 480 feet, which was much closer to the manufacturer's claim, meaning that it performed much better than the Astro 3 in theory. Also, the recovery systems on both rockets were very similar but not the same. The Quest rocket's recovery system was much more flimsy than the Estes one. Its parachute was much more flimsy and also caused it to rip. The Estes recovery system, using parachute and conventional shock cord, worked much better than the Quest idea of their shock cord, and returned the rocket safely to the ground. Although the Quest rocket was recovered successfully, its parachute was slightly torn, as shown also on the Kookaburra Mini 1 flight. In conclusion, even though the Quest rocket did fly higher than the Estes rocket, but that was probably due to its small size, and also the Quest motor obviously performing much better than the Estes motor, there was a couple of issues I had with the Quest technologies. Number one was its engine, the C63. It did run much hotter than the Estes motor, as I previously mentioned, and this caused many issues with the rocket. So if you are going to use a Quest motor, please make sure that your rocket is enforced and that it is actually capable of using this motor. Another issue I had was with the recovery system and its parachute. Its parachute was much flimsier than the Estes parachutes and had to be made by hand by putting the strings through it and tying it together. Also, its shock cord was much different to what I was used to, almost looking like a string and not like a conventional shock cord. The only good thing I have to say about Quest is that the igniters were very easy to use, unlike the Estes igniters. But overall, I would say that you could use Quest motors in your own rockets, although be wary that they might damage them, so make sure they are reinforced. When it comes to Quest, nothing can match them. Their stuff is everywhere, it's in every hobby store that sells rockets. So it is easy to get the technology. When it came to getting the Quest stuff, it was much more difficult because it wasn't really that available. Only one store in my state in Australia actually sold it. So that's another complaint I have. But yeah, other than that, Quest technology is okay. It's not as good as Estes, but I do recommend it for people that are trying it out.